iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. So today I want to do my weekly PGA DFS podcast. And last week, last week was an exciting week. I think I nailed that most everything. Seriously, most everything was right there in play at the Memorial. I was in first place on FanDuel after day 2. Saw the $26,000 in my account and FanDuel and was excited. DraftKings, my teams were good. It seemed like I had everybody. But what I learned in golf is you need to have all 6 players play well for all 4 days. So on my FanDuel team, I had Kyle Stanley, I had DeChambeau, I had Keegan Bradley, and I had Patrick Cantlay. I mean, 4 guys right there, right? But then my other 2 guys were Bubba Watson and Matsuyama. Matsuyama was good, but Bubba Watson on Saturday was +2, and then on Sunday he was -2. He was too far out. At that point, I couldn't win the tournament anymore. You have to have the hot guys on all those days, and it is not easy to win. It seems easy. You know, it's like all you have to do is pick 6 guys. How hard can that be? It can be pretty hard to get the right 6 guys. So more credit to those people who are killing it out there. I've had a really good stretch. I'm hoping to continue it this week. So let's take a look at the FedEx St. Jude Classic in Tennessee. So let me begin by saying this. This is a week that I tend not to play heavily. Why? Because next week is the U.S. Open. And what I believe to happen, and maybe I'm overreacting, and I probably am because this happened with Dustin Johnson a few years back, and I think I'm overreacting. I remember when Dustin Johnson played in this tournament, and then after day 1, he withdrew, he said he was sick, right? Then all of a sudden, there he was practicing for the U.S. Open a day later. Guess he wasn't that sick. So I need, and you need, we all need guys who are invested in the outcome of this tournament. If a guy's coming here and he plays poorly on Thursday, and he all of a sudden is withdrawing on Friday, that is going to kill us. It's going to kill us. So we need people who want to play 4 rounds of golf. Okay? So firstly, look for guys who have a reason to play. All right? Secondly, we've got to be very careful about these guys up top. Now, true, I don't think it's easy to win back-to-back weeks. Dustin Johnson, do I see him winning this week? Probably not. Will I use him this week? Probably not. Will I use him next week for the U.S. Open? You betcha. A lot of these guys may be using this week also to practice for next week. So let's just say Brooks Koepka. I think Brooks Koepka is going to make the cut this week. I do. But I don't think he's going to give us a top 5, top 10 finish. I think he'll be working on things, much like a pitcher works on his arsenal in spring training. So if Brooks Koepka works on a short game this week, it's because he has next week in mind. So does Brooks want to win this week? Of course he does. But if he doesn't and he wins next week, well, he'll be pretty happy, like last year at Aaron Hills, right? So we've got to look for guys who are in it to win it. Not easy to do, which means we're probably going to have to look further down the list for players to win. I'm not playing Dustin Johnson. Koepka, I think, makes the cut, but I don't think he's a top 10 this week. Phil Mickelson's interesting. He tends to do well here over time. I kind of like Phil Mickelson. I won't touch Stenson for the life of me. This is a guy I think he's playing here doesn't even want to be playing here, right? He's got to play here because he's got to have a certain number of tournaments in America. Trust me, I don't think he's vested in this one. Now, Daniel Berger is interesting. Berger is a guy who's won this tournament the last 2 years. So people are sheep. And then when they see that he's won the last 2 years, they will gravitate toward him and they will play him. They will absolutely play him. I tend to fade him. Now, maybe if I have 12 teams, 10 teams, maybe I'll play him on 1 or 2 just to say that I have him, just because he is a course horse. But I don't want to invest in him. Could that be to my detriment? Absolutely. But he's not really playing very well, right? When you look at a guy, if I look at his last starts, T57, T55, T32, T18, now all of a sudden you tell me he's going to win? Maybe so, but I'm not buying into it. I'm not buying into it. Billy Horschel is another guy who I have trouble playing this week, even though I will play him. I think he needs to play well if he wants to make the Ryder Cup team. But $9,700 for Billy Horschel just is way too much to pay. It's like going to your Toyota store and seeing a Camry for $50,000. Now, Billy Horschel's a Camry. It's a good car. He's a good golfer. But I don't want to overpay for it because some tournaments, Billy Horschel's like $7,400. Now I'm paying $9,700 only because Billy Horschel is one of the better golfers because this is a crappy tournament. I don't like to pay that. So will he be on a team of mine? Yes, but not on too many because I don't see value there. In fact, I don't see value a lot of places here. Right? We know Adam Scott is out. Do I love Charles Schwartzel? No. I like Tony Finau, that's for sure. He may be a guy that I play this week. I think I'm going to lead a lot of lineups with him. On played well last week. Can he do it 2 weeks in a row? And what about next week? Not sure. Joaquin Niemann. Now, this was the biggest regret I have for last week. I've liked this kid. I thought he's a good player, but I haven't pulled the trigger with him. Do I pull the trigger with him this week? I don't think so. I look at it and I say to myself, look, good player. I like him, but just had a very tough tournament last week. Is he going to be able to come back this week and have a good tournament? I don't know. I need to see how he bounces back. But he's been pretty remarkable, right? T6, T8, the last 2 starts, pretty good. So is he tired? We'll have to see, but he's been a very good golfer recently. Steve Stricker, these are guys that I like Steve Stricker on the right course, but I guess I'll be into Charles Howell III. So, once again, another guy who I don't like. I look Charles Howell III this week as the Matt Kuchar of this week. You know how Matt Kuchar is always like about $80-something $100, and he's a cut maker, probably a top 10 guy, but he's not going to win it. That's Chucky Sticks this week. That's what I'm going to go with Charles Howell. Uline I like. Afi Barnrat I like a lot this week. I like Luke List a lot this week. Then you get in this weird, funky guys of Harris English, who's okay. But he's not really a cut maker. J.B. Holmes, who always scares me. Kirk, Kevin Tway, Kevin Chappell. Kevin Chappell sometimes is really good. But it seems like every time I invest in Kevin Chappell, he stinks. Look. Cut, T30, cut. You want to invest in that? Now this week he'll probably be a T10. And I'll be like, oh, why didn't I invest in him? And then when I invest in him the next week, he'll stink. I'm always wrong with Kevin Chappell. I'm never right with Kevin Chappell, and that's frustrating. There's a guy named Braden Thornberry who goes to Ole Miss. He's one of the top golfers in NCAA, maybe the top golfer. He performed well here last year. He's a guy that people seem to be high on. He lives about 30 minutes from the golf course. If that means anything, let's take a look at Thornberry this week. I like Chez Reavie a little bit. I think he fits this course very well. I don't think Chez is playing particularly well. He was cut, and then he had a T30, but earlier in the season, he was dead on, if you remember how good he was. So I might be looking his way. I just don't know how I feel about this tournament. So many guys that are just so mediocre. Do you see why I'm not investing a lot of time and money in this tournament? Maybe 10 teams in the 20 entry max. I want to save my money for next week in the Millionaire Maker. A guy who's going to be on everybody's list is Ben Crane, because Ben Crane has played very well here. Very well. Let me tell you something about Ben Crane. I don't think he's that good a golfer. So everybody's going to be on Ben Crane. I'm going to fade him. I'm going to fade Crane and Berger this week. If that comes back to bite me, then so be it. But I think I'm going to fade them because I think if you look at it this way, if I think they're going to be 30% owned, which I do, if they're bad, I've just killed 30% of my competition by not playing them. If they're good, so be it. I get it, but I'm not really differentiating myself if I play them either. So maybe I might have one team where I'll throw Crane and Berger on just so I can say I have the Berger Crane team. That's probably what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll do 11 teams, and that 11th team will have Berger and Crane because I really don't like them this week at all. Some other names I like this week, Tom Hoagie, Mitchell. I like Mitchell a lot this week. And then you got to start looking down. Joel Dahman. I like Van Aswegen or Aswagen like I called him. He's played well at this course. JT Poston. JT Poston, for the price you pay for him, you get a guy who's always in there. T20, T26, T30. Not a great golfer, but he performs. Chad Campbell loves this course. He's not a great golfer in general, but he's always done well on this course. That's a course horse. Matt Jones, Abraham Answer, Retief Goosen. So these are names that I can get behind. So let's put a team together. I'll put two teams together. One, I'll do an expensive team. So let me get Phil in there and Finau for sure. And then I'll get Shez. So that's 3. See what I could do if I get Thornberry in here. All right, I got Thornberry in here. And I'll go for 2 cheaper guys. Let me get Mitchell. All right, that's good. And then I'll get Joel Dahman. Bam. Mickelson, Finau, Shez, Thornberry, Mitchell, Dahman. I can live with that team. It's a pretty good team, right? So I've got a Phil up top with Finau, and I got 4 guys in the 7,000 range. Probably what I'm going to do. Can I do a stars and scrubs? So let's say I do Phil and Berger. I'll do it. I don't want to do it. And then my third guy, I'll go back to Shez, let's say. And then I think I might be able to swing this. I'll go back to Mitchell. See if I can get him in here. Hello, DraftKings. Will you let me press the button, please? All right, Mitchell's in here. So yeah, and then I can get 2 guys at the end. I'll go for Van Aswagen, and I'll get myself another guy, Tom Hoagie, right? Mickelson, Berger, Shez, Mitchell, Van Aswagen, and Hoagie. So I can get 2 guys up top. This tournament will allow me to get 2 guys up top because there are a lot of guys in that $7,000 range that I'm willing to take a shot on because I don't like what I'm seeing. I normally don't want to do this strategy, but I would. Now, if I want to go for a lineup of guys just right there in the pocket, let me see, Finau and Horschel, and let me see if I get Luke List, who I like. Let me see if I can get that kid Thornberry. Let me get Shez. Yeah, and Mitchell. Okay? I'll even do Ben Crane. How about that? I can do Horschel, Finau, List, Thornberry, Shez, Crane. I've got options this week. Okay? I think if you take a look at my cheat sheet and you play it well with the guys in that $7,000 range, as you see, I'm in on Mitchell. I'm in on Shez. I'm in on guys like that. If I can get a couple of Dahman, I'm in on Aswagen. If I can get on those guys, Poston, right? If you could find your 3 or 4 or 5 guys in that range, you can get at least 3 guys at the higher end, and you can put in a pretty decent team. And if you do that, you might have a chance, you just might have a chance to be my rich friend. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Check out scoutdfs.com. That's where you'll find this podcast and all this information. Remember to check out playffwc.com if you want to win your fantasy football league. You can do best ball drafts. You could do dynasty drafts. You can do you could do our online championship draft. You can do our Fantasy Football World Championship draft, either online or you can come to Vegas. So many options. And finally, scoutfantasysports.com. That's where you find me, Adam Ronis, Sean Childs, doing what we do to give you the best information out there. All right, guys, wishing you luck this week. This is Dr. Roto saying be well and take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!